Mr. Zuckerberg responds, "This seems like a good reminder that when we compromise our standards due to pressure from an administration in either direction, we often later regret it." Why was it so important the virus not have started in a lab?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a heated exchange that happened between Congressman Jim Jordan and Dr. Anthony Fauci regarding the origins of the COVID-19 virus. Buckle up because things get intense as Jordan grills Dr. Fauci, pressing him on secret messages sent to Mark Zuckerberg and the push to downplay the lab leak theory. Alright, let's jump into it. Jim Jordan starts by asking Dr. Fauci why it was so important that the virus didn't originate from a lab. Now this is where things start heating up because Dr. Fauci doesn't seem to agree with the idea that the virus coming from a lab was ever a crucial point. Fauci insists that he's kept an open mind, but Jordan's not buying it. He comes back swinging, pointing out that the researchers Fauci funded figured out in just 3 days that the virus could have been engineered. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Jordan pulls out some bombshell messages between Mark Zuckerberg and top Meta executives. One message in particular stood out. It talked about how the Biden administration was pressuring Facebook to censor posts about the lab leak theory. Can you believe that? Jordan reads the message aloud and Zuckerberg responds, saying that they often regret it when they bend their standards due to political pressure. Imagine that. The head of one of the largest social media platforms in the world felt the heat from the government and still had reservations. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Speaking of bending to pressure, don't you let anything stop you from subscribing to the channel right now if you haven't already. Let's keep this conversation going.
Why was it so important that the virus not have started in a lab?
We don't know where it started, and that's the reason why I keep an open mind. So I don't know what you mean by why was it so important. It wasn't important.
You still don't know where it started? The guys you gave money to figured it out in 3 days.
No.
Mr. Anderson said on January 31st, 2020, virus looks engineered, virus not consistent with evolutionary theory. The very next day, Dr. Gary said, I don't know how this happens in nature. It'd be easy to do in a lab. And then 3 days later, Shazam, they switch and say it has to be nature. So they figured it out in 3 days, but you still don't know?
No, in fact, if you look at what they were saying, Congressman Jordan, they were saying that it was not a manufactured virus. It still could have evolved out of a lab.
Well, let me read something here to you.
They're not incompatible.
In our study on the censorship of the Biden administration working with big tech, I want to read you a WhatsApp message from Mark Zuckerberg. Can we include that the White House put pressure on us to censor the lab leak theory? So this is a communication on July 16th, 2021. Nick Clegg, Joel Kaplan, Sheryl Sandberg, Mark Zuckerberg. They're certainly feeling the pressure to downplay any lab leak theory and go with the natural origin theory.
Is there a question there?
One's coming. Here's another email to Mark Zuckerberg. It says, subject line, COVID misinformation, Wuhan lab leak theory. In response to continued public pressure and tense conversations with the new administration, we started removing 5 COVID claims, including the lab leak theory. Mr. Zuckerberg responds, this seems like a good reminder that when we compromise our standards due to pressure from an administration in either direction, we often later regret it. Why was it so important the virus not have started in a lab?
Wasn't so important that the virus not. We don't know. We know
it was important to someone in the Biden administration, so much so that the top people at Meta, the top people at Facebook are asking, why are we getting all this pressure to downplay the lab leak theory? And we have an email from June of the same year, June 4th, 2021, saying the same thing. It was certainly important to somebody.
Well, what has that got to do with me?
I'm asking you because you're the expert on the coronavirus. I'm saying why was the administration so pushing not to have the lab leak theory as something that was viable?
I can answer that. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
You kept an open mind. Dr. Fauci, open mind.
That is correct.
Then Jordan brings up another key point. He's got Dr. Fauci on the ropes asking why scientists like Mr. Anderson and Dr. Gary changed their stance on the virus being lab engineered in just 3 days. Remember, these were the same scientists who initially said the virus looked engineered and didn't fit evolutionary theory. So what changed? In just 72 hours, they did a complete 180. So there you have it, an intense, fiery exchange between Congressman Jim Jordan and Dr. Anthony Fauci. From secret messages to Zuckerberg to the sudden shift in scientific theories, and the millions of United States tax dollars that flowed to the Wuhan lab, This conversation leaves us with more questions than answers. What do you think? Is there more to the story than we're being told? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends who want to stay in the know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.